James Charles, do you know what they do to people like you in prison? Because you're not gonna need makeup, you're gonna have a natural smoky eye.
Ever since the day that you went away.
Hi, my name is Andra. I make commentary videos on pop culture and influencers. First of all, addressing the elephant in the room. I know I'm late with this video. First of all, I was busy. Obviously, it was Easter weekend. We don't celebrate Easter now because my family and pretty much everybody from my country is Orthodox, so our Easter is later, but we still decided to safely socially distanced meet because why not? We're allowed to now, so might as well see each other. We haven't seen each other in months. So yeah, we had a little get together yesterday, and then the days before I was a little bit busy as well. But also there is another reason. I wanted to kind of observe what is happening with the situation with James Charles, what is the public perception of his apology. I wanted to kind of get an idea of that too. I was not surprised to see that people, some of them, are actually believing him, because although personally I don't, and I'm gonna be talking about this with a lot of negativity because I defended him multiple times on different things. I said, he was a kid when he did certain things, he's grown up a lot, he's matured, he's out of scandals, but, I have to address the fact that in this case, I still think that people were canceling him sometimes for the wrong reasons, but for this, cancellation shouldn't even be the question. It should be what legal repercussions are we gonna have for this. But yeah, I was not surprised that people believed him because he's a really good public speaker. He is, and these kind of people, they get away with a lot of lies because of how good they are at speaking. So it's unfortunate. But I think James Charles is a fascinating case study for intersectionality, pretty much, for privilege versus oppression, because he is a white man and he is obviously a upper class white man, very rich, but he's also gay. And I think with that comes a lot of the stigma and a lot of why people hesitated to call him a predator, because there is a negative stereotype associated with gay men being predators. So I think people kind of didn't say anything, and I was one of them. I didn't want to say something against my own community because I'm a bisexual woman and I just didn't want to. But I realized that if we don't police our own community, then it's always gonna be seen as bad by certain people. And obviously, just by policing your community, you can't eradicate homophobia, but you can at least try to make it more obvious that we're good people, and people like James Charles do not represent the community. I think Colin Parry, he made a really good video explaining the situation with James Charles and why he is getting so many free passes being a white man. But I also think that we need to continue to include class in these conversations. I think in a capitalist society, class is always related with all of these things, gender, race, and stuff. Obviously, it doesn't encompass them fully, but it is related to them. And I do think that if it was just a normal gay man on the streets, then people would have been a lot worse when it comes to their reaction. But because it is James Charles and he's famous and he's rich, he's kind of untouchable. To address the elephant in the room once again, I don't think James Charles is a P word. P-E-D-O word. I don't think so. I think that he likes the power, yeah, but I don't think he would go for children. These people, they are legally children, but they're teenagers. And I think people have diverted the conversation to a place where it shouldn't be, because it's not comparable to people who do things to 10-year-olds. It's really not comparable. It's horrible, but it's a different conversation. I don't think you need to relate it to every single case of somebody going for people underage in order for it to be valid. I've seen people relating it to so many other YouTubers, and I can understand the point of, you would relate it to a YouTuber in the sense that when the survivor or victim is female, then there is more of a reaction in society than when it is male survivors, or especially gay couples like this. I understand the point that people are trying to make, but I think we should just take the situations one by one and see where we went wrong, because after all, we gave him too many passes to do these things in front of our eyes. This happened months and months. There can also be the argument made that he missed out on his childhood because he became famous so early, and that's why he's acting in this way. But I just think that this argument ultimately, although it may be true, it does nothing but give him excuses, and we shouldn't give a criminal an excuse. And also a very important thing to address is the fact that yes, Jeffree Star was actually right about this. And was he telling the truth? I don't know. Maybe he made it up and he just so happened to be right, because after all, a broken clock is right twice a day. But I don't know. I just think that people who are diverting it into, see, Jeffree was right. Jeffree is just as bad. Don't bring him into this. We're talking about James and we're talking about these teenagers, because this is what matters. They are legally children, like I said, and they are the ones that need protection. Even if they send different inappropriate images or if they engage in this conversation with James, they were kids, and kids do stupid things. And I mean, how many times do we hear this? Kids who are crushing on older people. This is normal for a kid to look up to these older people, but it's not normal for the older person to respond in a similar fashion. So let's watch the apology and talk about it.
Hello everyone, James Charles here, and today I'm going to be making a very important video about a very important topic. As many of you guys know, about 2 years ago now, I was involved with a very public online scandal in which some fellow YouTubers made some very serious accusations against me, and within the past couple of weeks, similar accusations are being made again, and I think it's very important that I get on camera and talk to you guys honestly about what is going on. When this first happened 2 years ago, I uploaded a video to my channel called No More Lies, and that video was a very planned video. It focused on receipts and screenshots and defending myself in the situation, but I want you guys to know that this video that I'm going to be making today is going to be nothing like No More Lies. This is not exactly planned. I don't have a script. I will let you guys know that I do have just some notes in front of me of points that I want to make, because this is a very, very serious topic. But today's video is going to be from the heart, and I'm going to focus on what happened, the conclusions that I've come to, and most importantly, holding myself accountable for my own actions.
So when I saw this part, I was wondering, if you had the video No More Lies and it worked, then why not take the same approach? Because I don't know what he tried to make this look like. He tried to make it, I guess, look like he's not trying to blame the victims, but what it comes across as to me is that he doesn't have these receipts, so that's why he's not showing them. Like, I don't know, I just think that if you were in trouble of, you know, something like this that you could go to prison over, then you would take all the ammunition you can and try to defend yourself in every single way possible so you don't get to trial. Because if you get trial for something like this, even if you are found innocent, then it's gonna destroy your reputation. And I just think that if I were him, obviously it's never gonna happen because I'm not like this, but if I were him, I would try to take out the big guns and just, you know, defend myself in every single way possible. So that made me wonder, what kind of receipts does he have, if he has any, or is he lying about it? And I also thought that it was funny the way he used the word accusations, that some serious accusations have been thrown against me. Well, are they just accusations now? Because it's true, and you're confirming it here. And he is very ambiguous about it, what he did, so that people who don't know the drama from other platforms, they don't know what he's on about. He's being very vague, and he doesn't explain the extent of it. And we're gonna see this later when he says he's talked to 2 boys. There's either 6 or 8. I've seen conflicting accounts from other channels. It's not 2, it's a lot more than 2.
First and foremost, I need to say sorry. I owe a massive apology to anybody that I've hurt or anybody that I've made uncomfortable with my actions. And I also want to say I'm sorry to my friends, family, and fans that have to watch another one of these videos, because you shouldn't have to, and this is really, really embarrassing. When this all started online a few weeks ago, it sparked a large conversation, and many people have shared their thoughts and opinions, and I want to take some time to address literally everything in today's video, but before doing that, I want to make it really, really clear that I fully understand my actions and how they are wrong. There's no excuse for them, and I don't plan on making any in this video either, and I hope that you will choose to watch it all the way through. I also just want to make a quick note as well that I'm filming this on the night of March 31st. It is currently 12:54 in the morning. I'm alone here in the studio, and I know that When I upload this tomorrow, it is going to be April Fool's Day, which is awful timing because this video and this topic is not a joke in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want anybody to think that it is, but I also don't want to wait any longer to speak about this. I want you guys to know that this is very, very important to me, and I'm taking this very, very seriously.
So I think it's good that he's apologizing to the people in his life. Yeah, because I do think that they deserve an apology, because I'm sure that they are getting dragged into this by association, and obviously he should apologize. I don't like that he apologized to the teenagers without naming them. Even if he claims that they are just two, then just say their names, because you're not humanizing them in this. You're just talking about it as an abstract concept of like, I'm sorry I offended people, I'm sorry I upset people. Okay, who? Can you tell us? And I've seen people talking about this, saying that he's filming alone at night, but you can hear footsteps later in the video. I noticed that too, and I was like, yeah, of course. And the April Fool's Day, I just think you waited for weeks, and I think the first accusation, as he likes to call it, was in December, and you waited for months for that one. But now you can't wait one more day to post on the 2nd of April? What?
The last thing that I want to say before I just get into it is that I think it's important that I provide a trigger warning for this video. There's going to be topics and things talked about that are very, very sensitive to some people, and I don't want anybody to have to listen to those if they don't want to. So I'm just letting you know right now. But with all that said, I think it's time that we talk.
I'm just gonna say this. James Charles, do you know how trigger warnings work? You're supposed to say what the triggers are. And in this case, it will be PEDO. And I think you don't wanna mention that word. And that's why you're just saying I'm providing trigger warnings, because you don't want people to understand the gravity of the situation. And it's not how trigger warnings work, and there is no point, because how would people know if they're triggered by the subject of this video if they don't know what it is?
In case anybody isn't aware of what's going on, within the past couple of weeks, 2 different people, both under the age of 18, have recently come forward saying that they had inappropriate messages with me on social media. One of them being from last year and one of them being from more recent. In both of these cases, I added these people on Snapchat, asked how old they were right away, was told that they were 18, believed them, engaged in a flirty conversation, and then later on found out that they were actually 16. Upon finding out, I was immediately embarrassed and blocked both people. Later on, when I saw them making videos about it and those videos going viral, my immediate reaction, completely honestly, was to be really, really upset. I wanted to get on camera and film another No More Lies video where I gather all my receipts and all my screenshots and try to tell my side of the story and then just move on from the situation. And now, looking back, that was so stupid, because as I did more research on these topics and self-reflected, I realized that the receipts and the screenshots and the specific details of the interaction really don't matter, because I fucked up. And I needed to take accountability for my actions and, most importantly, apologize to the people that were affected by them. These conversations should have never happened, point blank period. There's no excuse for it, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and I take full responsibility for that. I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. In both of these situations, doing research into these people's public social media profiles would have revealed their true ages, and therefore these conversations would have never happened in the first place, but I didn't do the research, and that is what is so embarrassing. As an adult, it is my job and my responsibility to verify who I'm talking to, and therefore there is no one to blame for this other than myself. To the guys involved with this situation, I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I added you, I'm sorry that I flirted with you, and I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. It is completely unacceptable.
I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. If. I mean, since they came out and talked about it, I'm sure you know that you did make them uncomfortable, and I don't understand the if in this situation. It's just stupid to be there. But yeah, I just think that he should have very simply gone on those people's profiles and see, and I think with some of them it's very visible, like you can tell very easily that they are under 18. I just don't understand why that was so hard. I'm not saying, obviously, if I go on a date with somebody, I'm not gonna stalk them, but I would look up their social media profiles just to see, like get an idea of them. I just think that's a normal thing to do, and I don't understand why he didn't do it? Is this like not normal for celebrities? I don't know.
I was being reckless, and after looking back and finally realizing that this was my own fault, I started doing a lot of thinking and reflecting to really try and figure out why I was actually allowing myself to be so reckless in the first place. In all other areas of my life, my friends, my business, I like to think of myself as pretty put together and on top of things, and I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? Why was this area of me so different? And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate. I do understand that with these videos coming to light, it's really it's really looking, period, like I'm actively searching for younger people to be in a relationship with. And I just want to say firsthand that that is absolutely not the case. My hope has always been to be in a relationship with somebody around my age or older that I can relate to and that can make me laugh. And unfortunately, I've not been able to find that person yet, but the idea of actually being in a relationship became so important to me that I was willing to trust too quickly, miss out on red flags, and most importantly, not take the precautionary measures that really anybody, but especially somebody with a public platform, should be taking before talking to anybody. And there's no excuse for that.
So, do I think that James Charles is specifically searching for people under 18? Personally, no. I've seen people who think that. I don't think that. But I also think that he probably likes people who are 18, 19, like around that age, like barely legal, because he is, well, he's 21, I think, so he's not that old himself. So, 18, 19 is not that bad, but it is weird if you want people barely of age. Yeah, of course, but if you meet somebody and they just happen to be 18, then it's not like a weird thing. But I just don't get why you would seek out people randomly when you have all these ways. You have Grindr if you're gay, and I'm sure that there are people on Grindr who are probably not gay and are just there for shits and giggles, but I don't think there's that many. I think the chance to find someone interested in you on Grindr is a lot bigger than to randomly message people hoping that they are not straight. And I just don't understand. I think that although he is not seeking out children, I think he isn't too bothered if he happens to encounter someone who is under 18. When he finds out that the person is under 18, he will probably back off and feel bad, like he said. Like, I believe that part, but I think he knows that he is untouchable because of his status in society. I think that's like the only reason. I don't think he genuinely fears that he would get legal repercussions over something like this, so that is why he's being reckless.
When I've watched videos in the past of people talking about serious topics, such as this one, it's always really bothered me when people would talk about conclusions or changes that they're going to make without actually talking about how they got there in the first place. So I think it's really important that I do that in this video. I just honestly think that I owe it to you guys to kind of walk you through the reflection that I've been doing, so you know that I'm taking this seriously, how I came to terms with my desperation, and how it led me here. In 2019, my dating life became even more public than it already was when I was called out and labeled as a predator. You guys, I feel like at this point, all know the story, so I don't want to go back into details, but pretty much I had to get on camera and prove that I was being lied to. I had all the receipts to back it up, but at the time I also recognized that I definitely needed to change the way I was going about dating because clearly something was not working. And in that video, I made a vow and a promise to myself and to you guys as the audience that I would be way more careful moving forward. And that promise was not one that I kept. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, at the time that I posted No More Lies, I really thought that like the only issue was kind of like the straight guys and being lied to. But I now realize that it was obviously a much deeper problem, and I really wish that at that time I had spent the time to sit down, look at myself in the mirror, and try to get to the root of the problem and understand why I was actually allowing myself to get into these situations instead of just brushing it off and saying like it's the straight guys and it's the lie. But like I said, I didn't, and as time progressed, my desire for a relationship never really went away, and I slowly started ignoring red flags again, and also ignoring my friends and the important people around me that warned me that I was going to get hurt. And to them, I also feel like I really owe an apology because I should have listened, and I feel like if I did, we probably wouldn't be here today. looking back now and just trying to do my best to piece this all together in my head, I think that my lack of experience when it came to dating growing up, and then all of a sudden having a lot of attention from different types of men, some for good reasons and some for bad reasons, really affected me in ways that I didn't quite understand.
I understand that as a gay man, it's probably extremely hard to find somebody because me, as a bisexual with a preference for women, I still go for men because it's easier, because, there is a bigger chance of a man that I interact with being into women than there is with a woman being into women. So I do end up going for guys mostly because it's easier. There are less complications. I wouldn't want to feel like a predator, like, ever. So I understand the difficulties in that, but I don't think that just because it's difficult, you will end up talking to children. Like, I just don't think that there is any excuse for stuff like this. And all these channels talking about this apology have exemplified his problematic behavior and his refusal to acknowledge what is exactly wrong with this, with those different clips from Logan Paul's podcast talking about how he likes younger guys and how he would fly out a guy from senior high school, which I assume would be 18. And again, we get into this conversation of why do you want to go for high school people specifically? Because I've talked about this with my friends privately. Say you are a 50-year-old man who goes specifically for girls in their early 20s. Then I think it's a bit weird, because I think it is a bit predatory. You're trying to find a legal loophole to do something. But say you are a 50-year-old man who's dated people from around his age, but just so happens to meet this girl who's 20, and they fall in love, but he doesn't have a specific tendency to target women who are in their early 20s. It just happens they meet through a mutual friend and they have chemistry. Like, in my opinion, age gap relationships like that are not weird because you don't target that age group. But if the only group you go for is that group that is barely legal, then you have a pattern, and your pattern happens to be predatory, and you're trying to do things the legal way but still be slimy and creepy. And also the other clip with him and Nikita Dragun laughing about how they like straight men. I never understood that. Why? And it's the same with Jeffree Star saying that he likes straight men. Why? Because I just think it's so predatory. It's so manipulative to try to change people. And why? Do you think you're gonna get a trophy for making somebody realize something about themselves? I would never want to be with somebody who doesn't want me. Like, it's just so weird. I don't understand it.
I honestly just thought that I had really, really bad luck and that I was being taken advantage of, when that wasn't the case at all. And I had the mentality that I could reach out to literally anybody and use my Explore page and For You page as a dating app, and eventually I would just happen to find the right person. But that's just not how dating works, literally at all. It's gross, it's weird, and it's desperation. I just really thought it was important to share my thought process and the conversations that I've been having with myself and professionals behind the scenes in order to help myself fully understand the situation so I could properly hold myself accountable for how I got here in the first place.
Okay, so you said you want to share the conversations you had with yourself and with professionals. So tell us, what professionals are you going to therapy? What are you talking about in therapy? Who is your therapist, if you can disclose that? Like, give us more details so that we can see you're actually trying to change. Because otherwise, what you're saying is not something that can be proven, so it's pointless.
When these videos started to come to light, power imbalance became a really large topic of conversation on social media, and rightfully so. In 2019, when I had my whole situation, I was accused of abusing my fame, money, and power to get what I wanted. And when I responded to that at the time, I said that that was disgusting and that I would never want to do that. And to this day, I still stand behind that sentiment 1000%. So when it was getting brought up again, I got really, really frustrated and was trying to understand, because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I know that this situation shouldn't have happened. I know that this conversation shouldn't have occurred. I take responsibility for that. But at the same time, like, they DM'd you first. They lied to you. They flirted first. Like, you didn't use your fame, money, and power to get anything. But I've now realized that that mentality is completely wrong, because a power imbalance can happen even when it's not intentional. What I wasn't getting before is that the excitement that comes with talking to a celebrity is literally enough to make somebody do or say something that they normally wouldn't, even if that celebrity isn't intentionally weaponizing their fame, money, or power. And that's the concept that I just wasn't getting, but I now do.
So when he got to this part, he kind of lost me, because I was like, you don't understand that, I mean, didn't you have any celebrity idol growing up that you would have, I don't know, gone to another country to see, or like that you would have done, I don't know, crazy things for? Like, is that's something normal? People growing up get things that they are really passionate about, or people that they are really passionate about. And I was confused about how he doesn't understand this concept, which is very simple to understand. And even in your real life, it's like that. For example, you have a teacher, right? And even if that teacher is not abusing their power over you and they're just talking to you, you're still, because sometimes people, you can have crushes on a teacher. It didn't happen to me, but it happened to other people that I know. So if you have a crush on a teacher, even if that teacher is not flirting with you, everything they say, you'll take it as a sign. And because of that, you will act stupid. And that is a power imbalance. Even if that person doesn't willingly engage in it, it still affects you. And I think that's just common sense, that you kind of grow up realizing that. I don't think that you can get to his age and not acknowledge that. So it's just weird to me that he didn't even think about it. I don't know. I don't believe it.
Even though I'm able to turn off my social media and just talk to somebody outside of the spotlight about something normal, in normal clothes and no makeup on as James Dickinson, that doesn't change the fact that to them, I'm still James Charles. And that's something that I can't turn off. For me, having a public platform has become such a huge part of my life that at this point, it does feel normal. But I have to understand that to 99.9% of people, it's not normal and will never be normal. And that's where the power imbalance lies that I wasn't understanding. But I'm so glad that I finally do, because like I said in 2019, taking advantage of that power imbalance is something that I would never ever want to do, but unintentionally was. With this situation blowing up, there are a lot of people speaking about this online, whether it be sharing their opinions, arguing back and forth, or most importantly, holding me accountable for my actions. I understand that posting this video today is not going to stop those conversations, but is going to spark more of them. And that's something that I am completely okay with, because I really feel like these are topics that we need to be speaking about a lot more. I also want to make it clear too, that through uploading this video today, my hope and my expectations are not to press post and then forget about it and move on and wash my hands as if nothing happened, because something did happen. And what happened was not okay. And I don't want to just forget about it. I should have been more careful in every single way when it comes to the ways that I was looking for a relationship. I didn't do the proper research, and for that, I'm once again ashamed and embarrassed. I can't take it back as much as I wish that I could, but I'm really, really glad that I now fully understand the situation, so I'm able to do better in the future, and I really hope to show that to you guys. I'm a firm believer that when scandals or situations like this happen, you can get on camera and upload an apology video where you say sorry a million times all day long, but the only way to actually show and prove that you are sorry is through action and change. And I'm going to change. This whole situation has been so embarrassing and I'm ashamed, but like I said, I'm now educated and fully understand what went on. And I'm making a promise to all of you right now on camera that I will be way more careful moving forward with every single person that I speak to. My For You page and Explore page are not dating apps, and I will stop treating them as if they are. I also have already started asking for proper identification from every single guy that has either reached out or that I was speaking to, and will continue doing so for the rest of time. I now understand the root of the problem. I understand how and why I, and only I, caused myself to get into this situation. I understand that this could have and should have been easily avoided, and I also understand that I need to be aware of my platform at all times. I didn't understand how a situation like this could affect the people involved, but now I do. And for that, to the victims, I am so, so sorry. And I promise that something like this will never, ever happen again. I also feel like I owe an apology to my friends, family, team members, and also fans that had to watch this all go down again. To all of you guys, I once again wish that I had listened earlier on. You guys saw this and I didn't, and I'm really, really sorry for not taking that seriously and not being a better person and a better role model like I promised that I would be. I'm going to be taking some time away to reflect and further educate myself on these topics. I think at this point it's really important that I do so I'm able to follow through with my word and prove to you guys that I will be a better person. Even though I won't be here posting, I do want people to know that I will still be here, available, listening, and learning. At this point, if you made it all the way through the video, I really appreciate it and just wanted to say thank you for listening, and I hope to never disappoint you again. See you soon.
Right, so you said that you're gonna change, but the only change that you're naming here is IDing people in the future. I just think it's such a stupid thing. Like, if you wanna prove that you changed, a start would be to talk to the families of the people that you've hurt and see if they need therapy. You can pay their bills, you're so rich, like why not? Donating to organizations, your caption box, like the description box is all empty. And you didn't put any organizations, you didn't donate to any organizations of survivors. You could have done that. Obviously, just slapping some money on an issue doesn't solve the issue, but at least it's a start to see that you are giving something away from yourself to try to help people. Like, the steps that you say you're taking, I don't think that they mean anything, because I think people should just be normal anyways. Like, I would do that, and I'm not a celebrity. Saying that you're educating yourself, why would you educate yourself on not preying on children? Like, that should be something you know, because when we are children, we are taught, be careful with adults around you. If they do anything to you, if they touch you inappropriately, let your parents know. Like, your parents teach you that at home, but they teach it to you from the posture of you being a potential victim. But when you grow up, you should know that other children are being taught the same thing that you are, and you shouldn't be the predator in that situation. So I don't understand what you need to be educated on. Talking to children is bad, like that should be common sense. That's the law, like it should just be common sense, You shouldn't educate yourself on that. Right, so some final thoughts on this situation. I think that people who are demanding that James Charles goes to prison, I think it would be great, obviously, to see legal repercussions, but I genuinely think that that is for the families of the survivors to decide. It's not for him. And I think that obviously putting him on the same category as R words is it's not great. It's not. And I've seen people doing it, and he's not that, but he is still committing felonies, and you should take it seriously without comparing it to R word, because as a survivor of R word, I just think that, if only this happened to me, it wouldn't be nearly as traumatic as what happened to me. But at the same time, I don't want to minimize the suffering of these people, because I'm sure that is very confusing, and I'm sure that is very upsetting for them to see that they are being put on display like this publicly for speaking out against somebody abusing their power. Like, I genuinely think that although it's not R word, it's still a serious issue, and I don't understand why people need to bring up R word every time that something like this happens. I don't get it. I've seen it online, I saw it mostly on Twitter. I think the YouTube commentary and drama channels have been quite reasonable in their commentary on this situation, but I've seen it, and I need to talk about it. I think at the minimum, he should be paying the bills for therapy for these people, and he should be donating. And I don't know about him turning himself in. I think it would be obviously the ultimate win for people who are talking about accountability. It would be, and obviously he should, ideally, but who's gonna do that? Like, we already know that that's not gonna happen, so we should start demanding things that he can actually, or he is actually willing to give, because he's never gonna give us this. He's never gonna give these people true justice, and unfortunately that's the way the system works. Unfortunately, even with R word, the cases of people actually being sentenced after that, very low. Doesn't happen a lot. So it's unfortunate, but I think we should try to get as much out of this as possible, should try to ask for as much accountability as possible, because this is not real accountability. It's not, and I think he should talk to the families of the survivors, because they are kids. Talk to their parents. It's not so hard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and like this video if you like it. Subscribe to my channel for more commentary. I'll see you next time. Bye!